Josh, this is Mac. He is an 8-month-old pit bull. His owner is one of my first clients from back in 2017.
Wow.
She hired me to do in-homes for a senior dog she adopted. And so I worked with her way back when. And so when she adopted this dog, she contacted me saying, we need some major help. At home, he treats her house like his personal playground. Furniture is gym equipment. He's constantly on the counter, stealing stuff, jumping, just really overzealous, and it's very difficult for him to settle. Outside the home, very shy. He doesn't listen. Like, he's capable of jumping in my car. He knew what she wanted him to do, but backs up and refuses, things like that. Pulled me the whole way from the car to the house. He's very, very, very insecure from what I see outside of his immediate pack and his immediate home.
Yeah,
Here.
I see that.
His name is Mac, and he is 8 months old. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I can see the insecurity.
Yeah,
he's got his tail tucked. He's shaking.
Yep. He was quiet the whole car ride here, laid down. But I see why she was counting the days.
Yeah, especially when you have no control. It gets really out of hand really fast.
Especially when she had a taste of my training before.
Right. So she understands what it feels like to have a dog who listens. Yes. Okay, how long has she owned him for?
Not too long, a couple months.
Couple months?
Yep.
Okay.
When I went to put the collar on, I didn't like the vibes I was getting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, has he bit, but she's only had him a couple months.
Only had him a couple months, no bites, but I feel like if I pushed him in that moment, he probably would have nipped me.
Yeah, I seen that he looked like he was thinking about biting.
Yeah.
And we haven't even done any training yet.
All I did was go to put the collar on.
Just putting the collar on, you felt.
I feel like what people have tried to do is quickly put it on and then.
Yeah.
So that's association to tools being put on.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, he's really skittish.
Yes, very, very, very skittish, shy. I don't know what the story is, but he is in the shelter.
He's 8 months, so he's young.
Yes, thank goodness.
But as we know, doing this for as long as we have and talking to as many people as we have, dogs tend to get out of control very fast. It doesn't take 8 months. It's you take a dog home who's maybe, let's say 4 or 5 months old, you're already noticing it within the first week or two. Yeah. They fall apart real fast.
Yeah.
Because the associations are made very quickly, and once they're made, that's how the dog behaves.
It's so interesting to me, all the different temperaments. Like, sometimes you'll get an 8-month-old pitty, and he'll just be like bulldozing around our training room and like jumping all over everything, lifting a leg. Or you can get a dog like this who's like, where's my pack? I'm not gonna move. My tail's tucked.
Yeah, temperament's
so interesting, but the training's the same.
Temperament's extremely important when you're adopting a dog or purchasing a dog from a breeder, rescuing a dog from a rescue. Looking at your temperament as the human, and then matching it with a dog who would be compatible with you by looking at their temperament. Because, and I'm not the first to say this, trainers have been saying this for a long time. If you get a difficult dog or a hard dog, that's their temperament, and you match them with an owner who's soft, naturally, that's their temperament, it doesn't work, right? So typically it's easier if the human has a dog whose temperament is a little softer than theirs. It's easier for the human. But breeds like this tend to be, and I don't even know this guy, I haven't interacted with them, but they're a little harder usually, a little bit more difficult. So it takes a temperament who is a little bit more, in the same way, who's a little bit more of a harder temperament, Look at the humans look at me, you know me pretty well. My temperament's not super soft. It's not super hard and game, but I'm a little bit more than soft, right? I have enough edge to my temperament. It's just natural. It's not even something you get to choose, really. And so I'm able to handle dogs like this because my temperament is probably a little bit above average as far as softness. And most dogs that we work with, their temperaments lean more towards difficult. If you look at hard and soft, that's the terminology that I was introduced to. It just means a dog who's less game, is more soft. They're less game. They're less likely to put up a fight. They're more likely to shy away from conflict. That's a soft dog. A hard dog is more willing to lean into that conflict. They're more game. They actually might even enjoy it, okay? And it's a spectrum. So you look at the dog's temperament in that way. A hard dog is likely to take a correction and want to give one right back, via the dog or the person. Where a soft dog might take a correction and then just listen, right? So when we're going to find out his temperament here within this session, and definitely by the end of the first week. But this insecurity, the way he's behaving at home signals dominance. But we know by default, he's pretty insecure, we can just tell. So if he's insecure dominant, that combination tends to be the most difficult. The dogs who had a taste of being dominant, but they're truly insecure, they're more of a follower, but they've had a taste of being able to lead, they tend to overreact, hence the insecurity. So they try to be the leader, they try to step up to the plate, but because they're not really supposed to, they're more insecure, all of those responses are overblown. They're over the top, right? So you can get bit by dogs who are insecure dominant much easier and usually worse bites than a dog who's confident and dominant, or a dog who's submissive and insecure, right? So insecure dominance, which we see a lot, is the most dangerous, I would say, breed, the most difficult type of temperament, I would say. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this is what I try to do with every dog, but it's very important to do with an insecure dog, is I'm going to try to show him that I'm safe. I'm going to try to make some type of connection with him that's positive or at least neutral, where he can feel that I'm not a threat. I'm not looking to have those conversations with him right off the bat. So he can see that I'm safe, I'm reasonable. And then as we get to training, that it'll be a little bit easier because he's like, oh yeah, I've had a positive experience with him, or I've seen that he's not just trying to dominate me, for the sake of dominating. I like to go that route first with every dog if I can. Some dogs don't let you, but especially an insecure dog. And then as we do the recall, it just further solidifies that I'm leading, but I'm also fair and safe. Okay? Good. Now, I don't know what this guy's going to give me because he's super insecure, so you kind of got to be careful when you start to get into his space. If I feel like I can't get close to him and have that experience, then we're just going to have to start with the recall, and then once that recall rep is finished and he's by my feet, hopefully then I can get some type of positive interaction with him. Okay? What's his name?
Mac.
Mac. Hi, Mac. How are you? How are you? I know. Very unsure. Hi. You're a good boy. That's good. Yeah, that's a good boy. My instinct is to say don't go up to him and start touching on him. So we're going to start with the recall. Come here, Mac. It's a very light number, but he feels it there. Come here, Mac. Come here. Mac, come here. That's all right. You're jumpy. Come here. Good boy. Ah, it's a good boy. Come here, Mac. Come here. Come here. Come here. Good. So I'm being in a safe place, and I'll describe what I'm doing here in a second. The way he's twitching his neck like that and stuff, it's definitely very overreactive considering the numbers I'm at. So I think I made the right call to have him come to me. Now he's sniffing me. I'm more of a safe spot because over here, the pressure's on, but as he gets to me, I'm dialing down and turning off when he gets to me. Come here, Mac. Come here. Come here. Come here. Good. Hi, how are you? Good.
He's handsome.
Very handsome. Good boy. Come here, Mac. 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 Come here. Good. See, they learn it very quick. Good boy.
Check you out. And notice how Josh
Good
is
boy.
putting no pressure on him at all.
Good boy. Yeah, we'll get to the conversations we need to have because I see the dominance in there. But I just want, see, there we go.
Wow, he's giving you the butt.
And once he realizes I'm not looking to have any conversation like that. So the beauty of the recall like this is when I recall and they're across the room, I turn the pressure on and I dial it up to a level that they want to turn down. And as they start to walk towards me, it dials down. And by the time they get to me, it turns off. So then, you know, I'm a safer alternative to this new environment that he doesn't know yet and he's very insecure about. All of a sudden, I start to become the safe place, which is ideal. Which is ideal. Good. See, I couldn't do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that before. I feel like he might have tried to get away, and if he couldn't get away, I don't know what he would have done. Good. Good boy. Good boy. So we're just taking our time. He's starting to take my scent. Now we also have to look at, so far I'm seeing some, you know, it looks like he's a bit of a difficult guy here as far as getting him to where he needs to go. That's just my initial instinct by the way he's behaving. And also a guy like this, I'd also be curious to see how he is with other dogs, especially males. Something tells me it's not going to be super friendly, but you know, never know. If he reacts the same way he did to me and you towards Riggins, then that could end up being a problem. Good, but hopefully by finding comfort in me, it takes a layer of stress down.
Let me read what she wrote. Jumping, counter surfing, mouthing, nuisance barking, overwhelming guests at the door, running all over the house, peeing on bedroom carpet, treating the furniture like a playground, peed on the couch twice, gets food from the countertops, scarfs it down quickly no matter how many times we say to drop it. He will not let go. He loves food. He is not aggressive at us with all when we try to take it from him, but he swallows it as quickly as possible. Let me see. We have one female dog. No aggression towards her. So.
See how he's putting upon me now and stuff? Okay, so it's possible and likely that the reason he's standoffish in this situation is because he's been through the system. And this might be, he might think that this is a similar thing, like the shelter or a rescue or something.
The vet.
And the vet, you know, like this is one of those places where they're going to do stuff to me and or whatever. So, but the reason I like this program, the way we have it set up, is that it's not a facility, it's our home. And so, and dogs don't live in facilities if they're lucky, they live in homes. So once he starts to see this as more of a place that we live, and it's a home with leaders, it's not the shelter or wherever, it doesn't have that vibe, we'll see him relax a little bit. I'm imagining that's kind of what's going on, is he's seeing it kind of like the vet or, the shelter or something, where there's a lot of hands before he gets to a rescue, before he finds himself a foster or something, and then finds a home. It's a lot of hands, a lot of people. And like you said, putting tools on and stuff, it tends to be quickly get it on and then move them.
Force them to move.
Yeah, because that's all they have. And so dogs tend to see when we're putting tools on, especially if they went through the system like that, they see it like that. They think, okay, they're going to put the tool on, they're going to get it on me quick, and then they're going to, drag me, or I'm going to drag them. And it's going to be this interaction that's not so fun for anybody. I think that's where it goes. And I already see a layer of stress going down. And that's no knock against shelters or anything like that. It's just the setup is kind of like that. They don't really have a choice. The dogs don't have training. Oftentimes the handlers are not trainers. And so they do what they can. They have to get the dog somewhere. They have to get the leash on. The dog's being difficult. So, it's get it on in any ways possible. And then it's usually move them around. Okay. He's letting me touch him on his legs, on his paws. So he's starting to ease up quickly. Good boy. That's nice. Yes, he's twitchy.
Flinchy he is.
Very flinchy. That would explain why he was flinching to the collar, such a low.
100% created.
Yes, I mean, this guy didn't get a fair shake.
Nope.
When you get a dog from a rescue or a foster or a shelter, they didn't get a fair shake. So he's, and then he gets into a home where he's king in his eyes. And it creates problems. A guy like this, well, any dog, but definitely a guy like this, needs a secure leader. Somebody they can lean on and rely on. And that puts all the stress and all the bad behaviors, and it just takes him away. And that way he can rely on the human in his life to help get him through. And I see him needing that badly. Right? Like everything that you read to me that they were complaining about, the food, him stealing the food off from the counters, and then them trying to say, he obviously knows that you're saying, I don't want you to have that food.
That's why it was faster.
Right? The interesting thing is, those situations are opportunities to create leadership, or they're opportunities for somebody to create the hierarchy. And if he's able to establish himself as the one who can get the food and you can't touch it, that was a training opportunity. It just went in the other way. He says, okay, they're not competent enough to be able to keep me from getting the food, or to get me to respect them enough to leave the food alone. So that must mean they're not leader. And this is how they think. But every time a dog jumps on the counter or whatever they're doing wrong and you disagree, that's an opportunity to create yourself respect and to become the leader with a handful of these. Because you see, that's what we do. We'll put the dogs in situations just like that so that we can talk about hierarchy. But if it's happening without planning it and you don't have the response to make progress, it's actually going to give you you're going to do the opposite of making progress. You're going to degress. You're going to go down. You're going to establish yourself as lower in the hierarchy, because they're natural animals, right? He's got that wild animal brain. So if there's food and we both want it and you're not able to establish yourself, then that just means that you're lower in the hierarchy, which means I'm not going to listen in these other contexts in life, like, hey, go calm down or leave the guests alone. No, I don't have to listen. You're not relevant, because we've already established the hierarchy when it came to these things like food or gas or anything that we both see as a resource. I'm able to do what I want with it. You're not able to stop me. The hierarchy's been sealed. So therefore, they're not going to listen. If those situations happened, I'm not saying, I'm not saying preventing them from happening was key. I'm saying responding to those and making progress and using that to elevate yourself in the hierarchy when he gets food or goes up on the gas. Those are opportunities to establish yourself. If we responded to those in a way that we were able to establish ourselves, they would actually be situations that made progress. We would actually see the dog listening more, even though the situation happened. It's just our response to it, to establish the hierarchy, to maintain the hierarchy, to show the dog when resources are around, we're competent enough. I'm not saying confident, by the way. This spell checks me, it says confident. I'm saying competent with a P. You're more competent, you're better at dealing with the conflict, you're more skilled at dealing with the conflict than he is. Because that's what dogs do with each other. They'll have confrontation around a resource, and the one who's more competent in dealing with that confrontation, the hierarchy's formed, they respect that, and then moving forward, they essentially listen to that dog in situations moving forward. Not even just the same situation, it'll bleed over to other situations. That's how they form hierarchy. Okay? It's one of the common ways to do it is over food and resources. He's got some scars on him around the neck or maybe scabs. A scab here. Pretty old. I'm sure he's rough, he's running around, he's bumping into things. But if he hasn't gotten into a dog fight or something, that's good.
It's good that he lives with a female.
It's good because that's, like I said, a male dog is different than a female dog. And here's the difference: when we have a male dog who wants to be dominant, which he does by the description at home, they see male dogs as competition, typically, and they can see female dogs as resources. So a female dog might be a resource to a male dog, where another male dog to a male dog is likely to be competition. So they'll treat them differently based off from that. If I let Riggins down, he's not going to see Riggins as a resource generally, typically. He's going to see him as a competition to resources, a competition to the females. Where a female, he might see more as a resource, potentially, especially when it comes to mating and things like this. They can be a competition when it comes to food and stuff, but males typically treat the females more like a resource. Not that they won't correct them around resources, not that there can't be competitiveness around the resources, but there's also that layer of the females are also a resource. So that's why we can see them treat each other differently. Good. Okay, buddy. Mac. Break.
Nice.
Good boy.
At least you're kind of guy.
I always liked pit bulls. I've always liked Rottweilers, and
I can tell he's an Florida leader.
yes, the leader thing is so important to understand what it means and what a dog needs to become the leader is a very good place to spend your time when it comes to learning how to raise a dog. Learning how to lead is very important, and that means you need to learn how to correct and direct, which is very important stuff to learn how to do. I think a lot of the times when we get dogs, we don't study how to be a leader. We don't study how to correct a dog and then how to direct a dog, how to create a calm dog. We don't study how to create a follower. We study like what's the best food, what's the best toys, how to have fun, how to make them happy, how to keep them comfortable. And then when shit hits the fan, then we start looking at training, but we tend to go to like, what's the softest training we can find? Let's use the food training. Let's do training that's fun.
They had a trainer come to the house.
Of course. So let's do the stuff that looks fun and soft and pleasant. But let's just talk about that for a second. In the natural world, which is where my man lives here, that's not how they train each other. That's not how they form relationships. They don't say, hey, what's the softest and most pleasant way to do this? It's often the opposite. When you see two dogs together, if I let him and Riggins down, the conversation isn't, let's take the softest, easiest, most fun way around this. They say, let's go for the confrontation right away. Let's have this difficult conversation right away. And so with this style of training, we go through those hierarchical conversations. We make sure that's part of the training because we understand that's the natural way of dogs. And that will create a follower, and that will actually create a dog who is not entitled. They have a good mentality and the best version of themselves come out. When we start saying, let's train because your behavior isn't great, let's train, and let's train in a way where we're going to be just trying to have fun and trying to keep it pleasant and making sure we're offering you resources that keep you occupied and make sure that if these resources aren't working, we get higher value treats, higher value rewards. Basically, let's make sure that you always have a chance to earn. Let's make sure you always have a chance to be involved. Let's make sure you're learning to earn. Where the conversation that we're going to be having, what dogs have, is like with our training, it's if we're using our commands, it's not an opportunity to earn something. It's the opposite. We're saying this isn't for you. Okay? This is your opportunity to avoid conflict. This is your opportunity to show yourself on the hierarchy where you're supposed to be, where you fit in, which is below me. And if you do that, I'm proud of you. I'm happy with you. Good boy. Doesn't mean I don't offer food. It doesn't mean I don't offer treats. It just means we're not doing that exchange for compliance, right? We show appreciation. When a dog's doing well in training, they had a good session, we're putting them on place, we're putting them in their kennel and they're going to relax. Here's a nice treat. That's much different than saying one for one, like you sit, here's food. You down, here's food. You didn't go after the dog, here's food. You didn't do that. And that's just like earn, which at the very least is going to create a dog who's entitled, where they think every situation that's about to happen is an opportunity for me to earn, which is going to, at the very least, create entitlement, which on the hierarchy puts them high. So therefore, even with all this training, even though they know everything, and it still allows them to believe that they're so high up on the hierarchy that they can chime in to decide how to deal with it, and the dogs often still don't listen. They often will actually not listen, go do the thing you don't want them to do, and then eventually make them their way back to you and get fed anyway. So that, they love it. They get everything. I get to misbehave and come back and behave to earn something, then misbehave again, then come back and behave so I can earn something if I want to, and then I'll miss whatever one I want to do. Do I want to go do the thing they don't want me to do? I'll go do that. And now I'm done with that and I want something to eat. I'll come listen to you real quick and get something to eat. You can see when dogs interact with each other, they don't do that. That's not how they're establishing hierarchy. That's not how they're establishing relevance and respect. So if we do it that way, it puts us at a soft place. The dogs see us as weak. Okay? So you won't be seeing me take that style. If you're watching the videos, we're not doing that kind of stuff. And that's the reason, because it creates an entitled dog that might be educated, it might have a college degree, but they're still brats who are entitled, who don't listen. Okay? They still get to pick and choose when they listen. Good. Not to mention, if he's not listening, if he's being disruptive, if he's being dangerous, then it's the wrong conversation to say, hey, are you hungry? Hey, you're barking out the window. Are you hungry? Hey, you're not listening to these commands. Are you hungry? Hey, you're being reactive to dogs. Are you hungry? It's not natural, right? It's not what you would do in real life. So that's why I think people get frustrated, because they're doing what they're told, but they're like this, deep down, they're like, this feels like it's putting me in a pretty weak position. And it does put you in a weak position. The thing is that style got popularized, and now it's pushed. And with that style comes a lot of money. One, because you're going to need that trainer forever. Two, because you got to go buy all this stuff, and you're going to keep buying it forever. But also, it's fun. And can you get a dog to learn commands to earn a reward like food or play? Yes, you can. But just because they know something doesn't mean they're going to listen. That has nothing to do with your hierarchy. Okay? So there's a time and a place for that stuff. But it's not, for me personally, it's not with establishing hierarchy and teaching these commands, which I do simultaneously. These commands are taught with hierarchy weaved in, with respect weaved in. It's not, you're going to learn the commands on the side, and then later, separately, we're going to try to work on our relationship. It's all interwoven. When we're working on our commands, we're working on our relationship. We're talking about hierarchy. That's why it lands very clear to them They know we're talking about hierarchy. That's why we might see attitude right out of the gate, because he's like, oh, no. This is about you wanting control. And I'm like, yeah, this is about me wanting that leadership, that coveted leadership position where I'm above you in the hierarchy. The reason a dog doesn't want to give that to you and they don't give it to you for free is because once you establish yourself as leader, you have first access to all the resources. You get to choose when, where, and how, and that's earned. They don't sit down and say, okay, let's take a vote. They don't do that. They say, who's more competent? Again, competent with a P, not confident with an F. Who's more competent at dealing with these confrontations that come up around resources? Oh, this guy over here, this dog's more competent. We let this dog, when he's around, have first access. Otherwise, we'll have to enter a conversation that we're not prepared to deal with. That's just the natural world. That's how they do it in the natural world. So if we think like that, and we're able to operate in the same way that dogs operate, then we're going to get what we want. And he's going to be his best version. And guess what? He will be happy, he will be stable, and he will be a joy to live with. The other way, you're always chasing and begging and trying to bribe the dog into compliance, which just is infuriating. And I think, and this goes for the owners, I sympathize with the owners because they're saying, the dog's not listening. He just did this, this, and this, and this. Now I'm over here spending $20 a bag for liver treats or more.
And he has diarrhea.
And they end up getting diarrhea and stuff. But then you feel weird because deep down you know it doesn't feel right. You feel weird saying, well, now I got to go buy all this stuff for a dog who's really making my life stressful. So think about it with a kid. If my kid's just being terrible, and I say, okay, now I got to buy a bunch of comic books and video games and candy and say, look, I have all the things you want. If you listen, I'll give you these. Even if he listens, it's only because he's choosing to listen in that moment so he can earn. It's not for my relationship. It has nothing to do with me. It's just to get the thing he wants, which isn't the conversation you're looking for. I promise you, it's not the one that's going to give you the results you're looking for. Okay? If it was, I'd be doing it because it's a lot easier and it's a lot more fun and flowers and colorful and playful and yippee. But the dogs don't respect that. You can't buy respect, and that includes toys and food and anything like that. You'll just become a Pez dispenser for candy, I'm here to earn. I'm here to get the thing I want. And now I lost interest and I'm going to go do the bad behaviors because that's what I want. They're still just doing what they want when they want. We're not going to the core issue of, do you listen even when you don't want to? Okay, we're going to get started here. I'm going to try to recap this recall here. Mac, come. Come here, buddy. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Boy, he's so
Yes.
fidgety.
The talking was good because it gave him a time to just kind of sniff around the room and chill.
Yep.
We would need to use time anyway, and so talking was helpful.
He's so flinchy when you first.
He's so flinchy. That'll go away here as the days go on, as he becomes familiar with me and the way we do things around here. Good. Some good things I'm seeing, though, is he's coming, he's sitting, he's committing. That's nice.
This is so ideal for you. He's never had a collar on. You're starting from scratch.
You're a good boy.
Boy.
Just getting into his personal space a little bit. He likes it. Now, if I were to go get food, it'd enter a different part of his brain. And I am going to use food. You're going to see me introduce food, and you're going to see it's going to be a different conversation. I'm going to tell him to leave it alone.
Yes.
I'm going to tell him it's not for him. That's the opposite of saying, here's your chance, this is for you. There's something you want, it's for you to earn. I have to teach him in order to be successful as a leader, is when there's resources, they're mine, unless I give it to you. And it's a different vibe, it's a different flavor, it's a different conversation. Although we're still using food, I'm saying, leave it alone. And you've probably heard of this stuff before. You know what it's called nowadays? This is what it's called nowadays, old school. To me, it's just natural. It mimics what they would do with each other. A dog who's higher up on the hierarchy wouldn't go grab some food and say, okay, here's the food, now you sit, here's a piece of kibble for you. Okay, now lay down, here's a piece of kibble. They're just never going to do anything like that. Okay? Good. Good. And that's not to say if you do have if you have had these conversations I'm going to have and you have established the hierarchy, that you can't then use those types of training methods to then teach your dog cool stuff. It's different. But don't think that that type of training bypasses having to have these conversations. It's that's like extra stuff. That's like icing on the cake, right? But if you don't have the cake and you're just eating the icing, you're going to get sick. And it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of holes in your relationship and the dog's just not going to perform at their best at all. Good boy. Again, they'll pick and choose when they want to listen. Mac. Good. Break. Good. That was nice, Mac. A little tail wag there was good.
Good.
That was good. Yeah, you know, this breed has a lot of benefits. They can be more difficult. But if you know how to get what you want out of them, they tend to be one of the more loyal breeds. In my opinion, they really would die for you. Not that I want him to. It's 2024. I don't need him. It's not the apocalypse yet. I don't need him trying to die for me. But he would. In that, you know, in some breeds, they're not really like that. But other breeds, especially pitties like this, once they bond themselves to you, you know, they take it very seriously. And I have a lot of respect for that. And I really enjoy that quality. However, they tend to be more aggressive towards dogs. They tend to have higher drive towards prey. They tend to make you really work for that leadership position. You like really earn it. They're not going to give it to you for free. But if you do establish it, boy, can you get a loyal companion. A loyal companion. But they're very real. You have to understand, they're less like, let's say, a lab or a golden. They're more game. They're more willing to throw down in those situations. They're more willing to fight. They're more willing to do those kinds of things. They're more willing to go after the prey and to take discomfort to get the prey down. They're just more game, which means more difficult if you're trying to be the leader. However, again, if you know what you're doing and you establish that, you can have a great companion as long as you know what they are and you respect what they are. Good. But you can't take it as casual. You can't just be a casual dog owner owning one of these types of dogs. It's just, it's going to end up being bad for everybody. Look, he loves a leader. And I think that's another thing I really love about him, is that once they see you that way, they love the leader. They respect your position. Okay? Good. And in some ways, they become easier. In some ways, they can become easier than other dogs. That's very good. That's a good boy, Mac. You're very handsome. Okay? Now we're going to get into some real stuff here. Good. 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 This is natural. This is how another dog would do. This is mine. Don't just come put your face in it.
Another dog would bite him.
Well, yes. I'm simulating. All right. I use this. I hit the floor. At the same time I hit the floor, I gave a little correction on the e-collar. His response was great, so it didn't go any further than that. He backed up. Look. This right here, so this will translate to food on the counter. Basically, if he sees me as leader, when he sees something he wants, he leaves it alone. And he starts to realize, as leader, I'm a good leader. So that means I will feed you. But it's not yours until I give it to you. And then if I want it back, give it to me back. Okay? Should we call him here? Come here, Mac. Come here, baby. Good boy.
Nice.
Good boy. Yes, okay, good. So now he's understanding that's not me, that's just me. That's when you're trying to take my resource. Good, look, now he's like even more into me. I'm into you even more. Right? Good boy.
Wow.
Good boy. So heavy affection. So my reward is the relationship. Look, 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 look. I let this go.
Wow.
I let this go for now. Now he loves me more. Right? Because respect. He loves that I'm talking to him in a way that he understands.
He's loving you.
And he's not begging. This isn't a beg for food. This is a, this is I accept what, your competence in dealing with that, and that, I want to be on good terms with you, which creates a stronger bond. And I say, when he's behaving like that, this isn't something, his coping skill won't be jumping on me. This is just the beginning because he's such an insecure guy. I said, hey, I'm safe enough for you to put your paws on me and get close to me like this. I'm safe. If you're going to use punishment, you have to really know the finesse of, and you see me work all the time, Julie, I do a lot of affection.
Oh, yeah.
I do a lot of petting. I do a lot of, love, right? Because you have to contrast the punishment so that we have that beautiful, yes. But I'm not doing it, let me be clear, I'm not doing it in a way to say, I'm so sorry I had to do that. There's not that vibe, that'll ruin it. It's I love you for being submissive towards me. I love that you're willing to allow me to be the leader, and I appreciate that so much. But I'm not over here saying, I'm so sorry I had to correct you. No, don't do that, because that just has mixed signals. See, we're spending more time doing this than I did correcting that. I'm going to ask him, get him off. Now let's see what he does here. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. You see that? Good boy. Good boy. Good. So I give it to him. It's different than him trying to come and take it. But this lets him know that I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to share what I have with you. But I want to be the one to choose how to divvy everything up. Oh, good. Good. I don't, you see what I'm doing here with putting my face close? You're like, don't mimic the stuff I'm doing, all right? Because it's dangerous. But
you know how to read.
Yes, in those moments, I'm not just doing this for me and for no reason. It's part of my expression. Mm-hmm. I feel safe around you. I want you to feel safe around me. When I have to correct you, it's because you did this.
Yes.
It's not because now, I want to dominate you for no reason. Good. So it's firm but fair. I like that he's eating. I know he loves food, but some dogs, and he didn't get it. There's not a whole lot of stress in that little situation there. But some dogs, when they're feeling insecure and stressed, they just won't eat anyway.
No.
Even if they're hungry, though, they're not going to eat. It's not the time to eat. Good. Good. Yes, you look like an adult.
I know, that was my thought.
You don't look 8 months, but it's possible. He's kind of small still, but
They said they got him at 12 weeks and he was a puppy.
Yeah. He just looks mature for his age.
Yeah.
Not saying he acts mature, but he looks mature. Yes. Huh? Oh, good. You're
Much
good.
more effective than him trying to eat it as fast as he can and they can't get it out.
Yes, but we don't want that. He's never had this before with a human. So, if they got him so young at 12 weeks, people get dogs at 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Since then, he hasn't had conversations around resources like this. So, with his dog pack, if he didn't get taken away from his dog pack, he would have absolutely had conversations like that because that's how dogs operate. Good. 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 So you see, hopefully you can see how I'm using food here to establish hierarchy. Good. You see how much more comfortable, this is the thing. I just corrected him twice. Probably firmer than he's ever been corrected by his humans, definitely. Because I doubt, it doesn't seem like he's had proper correction. He's more into me than ever. Each correction that I do, he's more into me. Look. That's the respect and trust. We're getting respect and trust. Look, 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 look. He's like, I love you more than ever. That's post-correction. It's the opposite of what most people are being led to believe, whereas if you correct your dog, they're not going to like you, they're going to be afraid of you. It's not true. If you know what you're doing, it's not true. It's actually the opposite. They're more loving. Okay? So, luckily for me, the way I was raised by my dad was, it gave me the example of, I was corrected by my dad, but I wasn't afraid of him in that way. I knew it was because of something I did, and it didn't make me not love him. I still love him. Still loved him then. He's passed on since, but I loved him. I love him still, and I appreciate what he did for me. And he used to correct me. He used to punish me. So I had that idea in my head that, well, even though you're punished, you still love your dad, and I'm not afraid of my dad in an unhealthy way. I might be nervous to do something wrong in front of him, but I didn't think that randomly he was just going to snap on me. And he didn't do that. It was all based off my behavior, and it was fair. Okay? So therefore, I'm not walking around my house nervous of my dad. You know what I mean? Nor did I love him less. In fact, I remember being a kid, and when I wanted to please somebody, guess who I wanted to please? I wanted to please my dad. No. Good. He's getting familiar with corrections. Good boy. Look. I like how, the reason I'm petting him there is because I like how he responded to my correction. He's starting to understand it's just based off his behaviors. It's not random. I'm fair. Okay? There's a lot of finesse I'm showing you here. Good. Good boy, puppy. All right, so now we're going to up the ante. It just gets a little bit more dangerous here because we're going to bring another dog down. And again, this is all, I just met this dog. This is the first session. Rig. Don't let them through yet. I want to see the response. Good. Wait for it. Mac, come. Come here.
Nice.
Good boy. Come here, Mac. Come here, baby. Good baby.
Nice
work. There's that puppy I see. There's that boy I see. That's beautiful. You see how he felt that pressure this time? There wasn't how he was moving his head around a lot. Those are the same numbers. And he's not doing that because he's becoming familiar, and the stress has dropped significantly. Right? Good. Good baby. Again, I want to choose. That's a resource. This is a new situation. As a leader, I disagreed with him trying to deal with the situation. I want to be able to deal with it. But I'm showing him that. Good.
Sniffing from the distance.
Mac. Break.
Nice.
Good.
Good boy.
Let him through.
Riggins can't wait.
Let him through.
This is what dogs do.
Yeah, look at that dominance.
Dominance.
Good boy, good boy. He's going to see Riggins as weak because I stopped Riggins from doing what he would naturally want to do, which is dominate. Okay. I can keep the other dog away. See, everything changes when there's another dog here now. Now there's more, now they can try to form hierarchies underneath me and things like this. Good. Good. Good boy. Good boy. Is that door shut and out there?
Yes.
All right, we'll let him out. And then we'll use that recall to see what he learned. Good boy. Once I get this rolling, we're going to reintroduce the food now that there's another dog here and see what happens there. This gives me more opportunities to establish myself, more opportunities to use the to train more, but also it allows me to see where his head is with other dogs and resources. Lets me to see what's inside that brain. Right? So I'm kind of getting a temperament test here at the same time. All right, let's recall him in. He's all the way across the lawn. Come on, bud. Come on, Mac. Mac. Come on, Mac. Come on, bud. Didn't want to come in. He was over at the door. Good boy.
Nice.
Good boy. Come here, Mac. Rig, here. Rig. Psst. Rig, here. Good boy. I know you got to go potty. I need you real quick. Come on, Mac. Come here, baby. Good. Wait, stay. This is good. I'll let you out in a second. Come here, Mac. Stay. Testing the boundary a little bit. Going higher up in my numbers. Come here, Mac. Good. Again, he's known, he's taking those corrections to test the boundary, but he knew what to do, right? Good. Stay. The door's a resource. He can't just come and go as he pleases, and this is his first time learning that. Okay, good. Break. A lot of work's being done right now. A lot's happening. More than one thing's happening at once. We are working on that recall, but it's also working on relationship and hierarchy. All that good stuff's happening simultaneously, like I said. We're not training the commands up on one side and then trying to do the relationship somewhere else. It happens all together. He's over at the door. If you guys can't see, but it's very common for dogs to go to the door that they came in. And that's what he's doing. He's just hanging out of that door. And when I did the initial recall, he was nudging at the door. And then when I reached a number that he cared about, he turned around and came in. Okay, come on, bud. Yeah, baby. Yeah, Mac. That's my guy. Yeah, boy. It's amazing.
So moldable at this age.
Yeah, the younger the better. I mean, there's a certain age that we like to start, but 6 months is good. Under a year is ideal. It's much more difficult when a dog's 5 because they've already lived a certain way. Come here, bud. Good boy, Mac. Good boy, Mac. See, it's harder now because the door's open and there's another dog out there that's just roaming around. Good. Good. Now he has some experience here. If he starts to continue to not listen, I'll go firmer on my numbers. Good. Good. We'll let Riggins potty, then we'll let him in and we'll do the food. Good. So their interaction wasn't perfect as far as what I'd like to see from Mac. He was insecure, but he was also, you've seen the brain try to be dominant. He put his head over Riggins' shoulder. I interrupted it, but who knows where it would have went. right? And he's not an adult brain yet, not fully. So as he gets closer to a year and a half, we start to see more of that adult brain take over. That coming out at this age tells me that it's going to lead to, you know, when you're thinking dominance like that with another dog, it's going to lead to some issues, which likely could be dog fights, because he's speaking in a way. The Riggins isn't going to attack him because I'm here, right? They're not going to do that. He's not going to do that. He knows what he can and can't do. If I wasn't here, Riggins would want to dominate him easily. He's probably going to go for the hump or something like that. How does he respond to that, right? Is he just going to let it happen? I highly doubt that's going to be the case, even at this age, definitely by the year and a half. So he's going to try to probably take a snap at Riggins. And then how does Riggins react? Does he snap back? And then does he snap back after Riggins snaps back instead of submitting? Then we have a dog fight. Because he's thinking in those terms already as a puppy. So that's not just going to go away. That will go away with a leader who says, these are off the table, otherwise you got me to deal with. That's why Riggins isn't doing the things he wants to do. Riggins would much rather dominate him and hump him, but he's not going to do it because I've told him I don't like him doing that, and if he does that, he'll have to deal with me. So therefore, he doesn't do it. Okay? That's how we keep our dogs from behaving that way. They want to do it though, but they let it go because they know there's corrections and consequences if they do. And so Riggins has other ways now. Instead of humping this guy, I'll go mark, right? I'll downgrade my response. Instead of humping, instead of fighting, I'll go mark, or I'll go find a resource to play with or something. He does other things instead of doing these things that I know that I don't want him to do. And this guy can learn the same. Instead of fighting like that, if you feel insecure, come to me and I'll keep the dogs away. Or if you feel like you want to fight, don't do that. Do this instead. Just go mark somewhere. Just go outside and mark around. Find an alternative. Good. Don't mark in the house. Rig.
Yeah, he pees in their house.
Come on, Rig. Does he?
Yes.
Is he lifting a leg?
I didn't ask for that.
That's important because that means he's marking. Rig, let's go. There's a difference between marking in the house and having an accident, right?
It's been on the couch. So.
If he's lifting a leg, he's marking, which is dominance. It's directly related to why he doesn't listen. It's directly related to why he takes food and doesn't listen. It's why he won't leave the guests alone, because it's his house. Yeah. You see, Riggins is playing a certain game with him. Good. Good. Now we're going to introduce a resource. Different response. Look, a step away instead of a step towards.
Behind you.
Yeah. Not directly to the resource. But what happens when I throw Riggins a couple pieces?
Oh, he sees that.
Mm-hmm. Good. 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 All right. I think this was a nice introduction. And now we need to get him introduced to the kennel room, show him where his kennel is, show him where he's going to be able to relax, get him settled in. And I think this was a good day one. I'll do one more recall here. Mac, come. Good boy. Good.
Very nice.
Very good.